Do animals fall in love? The truth is cuter than you think. Imagine you're a penguin. You've spent months swimming through freezing oceans, dodging hungry seals, and trying not to become fish food. Then, you finally make it back to your colony. The problem? There are literally thousands of penguins that all look exactly the same. Yet somehow, you hear one voice and immediately know, yep, that's my penguin. Cute, right? But it raises a weird question. Do animals actually fall in love? Not love as in swiping right on a dating app or writing terrible breakup songs at 2 a.m., but real emotional attachment. The kind that makes you want to spend time with someone, protect them, and maybe even stay with them for life. For a long time, scientists would have laughed at this question. Back in the day, many researchers believed animals were basically furry robots running on instinct. Eat, sleep, reproduce, repeat. But the more we study animals, the stranger things get. Because it turns out, some animals have relationships that look suspiciously like romance. Let's start with one of the biggest romantics in the animal kingdom. And surprisingly, it's not a swan. It's a tiny brown rodent called the prairie vole. Now, prairie voles aren't exactly winning any beauty contests. They look like a hamster that forgot to brush its hair. But these little guys are relationship legends. Most mammals mate and move on. Prairie voles don't. When a prairie vole finds a partner, it often sticks with that partner for life. Scientists discovered that their brains release chemicals like oxytocin and vasopressin, the same bonding chemicals involved in human relationships. Basically, their brains are wired to become attached. And here's where it gets wild. If a prairie vole loses its partner, it can become stressed and anxious. Some even appear less interested in socializing. That's not just biology doing its thing. That's starting to look a lot like heartbreak. But prairie voles aren't the only romantics out there. Let's talk penguins. Because honestly, penguins are making the rest of us look bad. Some penguin couples spend months apart in the open ocean. Then, breeding season arrives, and they return to giant colonies packed with thousands of noisy birds. Imagine trying to find your best friend in a stadium where everyone is wearing the exact same outfit. Yet, many penguins can recognize their partners using unique calls. After all that time apart, they find each other again. And if that's not adorable enough, some species work together to protect eggs and raise chicks. Meanwhile, half of humanity can't even agree on what to order for dinner. But perhaps the most emotional animals on Earth are elephants. Elephants remember family members for decades. They help injured relatives. They protect baby elephants. And they appear to mourn their dead. Researchers have observed elephants standing quietly beside the bodies of family members. Some gently touch the bones of deceased elephants with their trunks. Imagine caring about someone so much that years later, you still recognize their remains. That's an incredible level of emotional attachment. And then, there are wolves. Movies often portray wolves as savage predators. Reality is much sweeter. Wolf pairs often form strong partnerships. They hunt together, raise pups together, protect each other, and communicate constantly. A wolf pack isn't just a group of animals living in the same place. It's more like a family business where everyone depends on teamwork. And at the center of that team is usually a bonded pair. Of course, not every animal is looking for true love. Some animals are basically the opposite. Take giant pandas. Scientists have spent years trying to convince some pandas to reproduce. Imagine being part of a species conservation program and still saying, nah, I'm good. Meanwhile, male bowerbirds spend days building elaborate structures and decorating them with colorful objects just to impress females. They're basically nature's interior designers. Picture someone building an entire luxury mansion just to get a first date. Animals can be ridiculous. But here's the really interesting part. Scientists still argue about whether we should call these behaviors love. The problem is simple. We can study animal brains. We can observe animal behavior, but we can't ask a penguin how it feels. No scientist has ever walked up to a swan and said, on a scale from 1 to 10, how emotionally committed are you to your partner? So technically, we can't prove animals experience love exactly the way humans do. But we do know something important. Many animals form strong bonds. Many experience distress when separated. Many seek comfort from specific companions. Many cooperate to raise young. And some appear to grieve when those companions disappear. If it walks like love, acts like love, and lasts like love,
maybe it's not that different after all. In fact, the biggest surprise might be that love didn't begin with humans. The chemicals responsible for bonding are ancient. Millions of years, long before humans wrote poems or created Valentine's Day cards, animals were already forming attachments that helped them survive. Because staying together often works. Parents can raise offspring more effectively. Families can protect one another. Partners can share responsibilities. Love, or something very close to it, may be one of evolution's greatest inventions. Thoughtful. So, do animals fall in love? The honest answer is, we don't know exactly what they're feeling. But when a penguin searches through thousands of birds to find one special partner, when a wolf refuses to leave its mate, or when an elephant mourns a lost family member. It's hard to believe there's nothing emotional happening. Maybe animals don't write love letters. Maybe they don't buy flowers. And maybe they've never cried while listening to breakup songs. But in their own way, many animals seem to form connections that are deep, lasting, and meaningful. And honestly, some of them might be better at relationships than we are.